You're listening to The Marne Report.
Hey, Fort Stewart, Hunter Army Airfield. It's Molly, back at it again with another edition of the Marne Report podcast. Today, I'm here with my buddy, Captain Barrick from DES, the Directorate of Emergency Services. We are going to talk all about back-to-school traffic safety and just speeding in general. Hey, Captain Barrick, thanks so much for being on the show with me today.
Sure, Molly, no problem.
Before we start, why don't you tell me just a little bit about yourself, exactly what you do for DES, how long you've been doing it, you know.
Okay. Well, as you said, my name is Captain Barrick. I work with the DES. I am the traffic OIC for Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield. What that basically entails is we handle all the speeders on post, the traffic accidents on post, all that kind of stuff. So it's a relatively fun job. It's something I enjoy doing, and I've been doing it for 12 years at Fort Stewart.
Dang. So on average, about how many people are stopped per day for speeding?
That's actually a hard number for me to give you.
Yeah?
Most of the time, we'll say between 20 and 25 a day.
Wow.
So just for speeding. And that's a lot of that's on our highways. So 119 and 144 east and west.
Sure. Yeah, people are they're running late or they're trying to get home.
Or they're just not paying attention.
Yeah, true. That would be me. Zoning out and you're like, oh boy, I better slow down.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
I gotcha. So back to school, right around the corner here. You know, it's already started out in the community, and now we're rolling into the DoDEA back to school, which is pretty important because those schools are here on post, right? So
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about what should people be doing when school starts, you know, on the roads surrounding the schools and just on post in general?
Sure. School started already for Liberty County on the 2nd of August, and we start here on Fort Stewart on the 7th of August. So you've already seen the school buses on post. All the traffic signs at each of the schools has been already activated. I'm sure each of us have passed through there at least once and seen them maybe flashing or, you know, just coming on. But the key thing we need to worry about is school zones are properly marked. They say what the speed limits are. They're 20 miles an hour. We need to adhere to them. There's crossings at each of the schools. There's flashing lights at each of the schools. There's warning signs there for us, Molly.
Sure.
And the key thing about it that everyone needs to know is the ticket for going through a school zone and speeding is $230.
Dang.
That's for 1 mile over speed limit. Okay?
1 mile.
1 mile.
Oh my gosh.
School zones have no mercy.
Sure.
We're here to protect the children and the parents or guardians that are getting their children to school. The other thing I want to tell you about is the buses. A bus fine for passing a bus when the stop sign out is $350. So we need to make sure that when we see a school bus stop, if the yellow flashers are on, that means he's getting ready to go to a red. That means that stop sign's getting ready to come out. We need to stop.
Sure.
Don't gas it. Don't go it. The people who are doing this are people who live in the housing areas. And guess what? These are your neighbors and stuff that you know.
Your own children.
Exactly. That you're going around. So we need to make sure that we use caution.
Sure.
And be safe.
Sure. And then, okay, so last year around Diamond Elementary School, there was like a reversed traffic pattern during school zone hours,
Yes.
right? Is that going to be the same this year?
It will be the same. Well, you will not be able to make a left turn into the school.
Okay.
So if you come down Hero from, let's say, the waste treatment plant, you have to go straight down, go past, loop around one of the neighborhoods, and come back in that way.
Got it.
The reason that that's done is because if we kept the left turns, we would back up traffic.
Oh, sure.
And yes, I understand that people think it's a mess by doing it the other way, but believe it or not, it actually does move quicker going that way. Also, it helps us get the buses in and out a lot quicker, and that is our priority, getting the students in and
Sure.
getting them, you know, to the school.
Will there be crossing guards at the schools? Are you going to have people out there directing traffic?
There will be MPs out there like we've had in the previous years. At
Okay.
each one of the crossing areas, you'll see the MPs there for assistance.
Sure.
We're not going to get out there. We're not going to go crazy for directing the traffic. But if we see that there's a problem,
Sure.
we're going to address that problem and fix it.
Okay.
So that, once again, we get everybody where they're going safely.
Yeah, and that's another point. Nobody wants to speed in front of an MP, right? You're going to have MPs on site.
There you go. And we'll actually have increased patrols for
Yeah.
the first couple of weeks just to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do.
Sure. So do you have any tips for parents who have kids that are going to either Kessler or Murray that maybe their students are walking or riding bikes?
The best information I could give them is make sure that you look both ways and sometimes do it twice.
Sure.
We have the MPs there, we have the signs there, but we all know that there's those certain people that just don't pay attention
Right.
and come through faster than what they need to. So parents, just make sure that your child knows that, just because there's a crosswalk, stop, look both ways, and then proceed.
Yeah. Well, do you have any more information about the back to school traffic? Any tips that you want to share?
No, I think we pretty much hit everything, Molly. Like I said, we just asked the public to slow down. You see the buses, you see the students. Class is starting on the 7th on post. Just be more observant. Just watch, pay attention. The schools are clearly marked, so there's no reason not to know they're there. And we drive by them every day. We just need to modify our travels now because school is starting.
Sure. And I mean, we've also probably got some young drivers on the road too, if they're headed off post to go to Bradwell for school, or Liberty perhaps. But yeah, maybe parents just talk with your young drivers too about how important it is to
be safe.
Yeah, be safe and abide by those school traffic.
That and all traffic rules.
Yeah, well, very true. Very true. All traffic rules, which actually is a pretty good segue into just talking about speeding on post in general. So you already told me on average about 25 people per day are getting speeding tickets. The majority of those are on 144 and 119. Let's just talk about that for a little bit, right? Because speeding 25 per day is kind of an issue. Do you have any messages just in general for our population about maintaining speed? Obviously, you should do it. Right? Maintain the proper speed.
And most of the times, Molly, what we get is everyone's like, well, I'm late for formation. I'm late for an appointment. I'm like, look, if you're already late, you're already late.
Correct.
You can't fix that by speeding. On the highways of Fort Stewart, they're dangerous because the plain fact is we have large drop-offs. You get into a crash all because you're late, and what's that do? It injures you, wrecks your car, may hurt someone else. So just abide by those laws. They're there for a reason. They're there all over the state, not just Fort Stewart.
Right.
So abide by them and, get safe and get to where you're going safely.
Yeah. And we're still under that 100 days of summer heat.
We are. That will go through September.
Awesome.
Up to Labor Day.
Okay, and explain that a little bit for me if you can.
100 Days of Summer is basically, it's an initiative in which all law enforcement go and we up our patrolling for safety, vehicle safety.
Sure.
Knock down the number of DUIs, the number of speeders, the number of reckless drivers. That's what the whole initiative is about.
Sure.
And that's by all law enforcement in the state of Georgia, just not Fort Stewart.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, you brought up a good point too. I mean, there's other things than speeding, right? We do have a number of, we learned on last week's podcast about, we do have a high number of DUIs on Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield. We spoke with the chair of the new designated driver program here on Fort Stewart. So you guys also sometimes will do road checks as well, right?
Correct. We will.
And those are completely at random, so you never know when that's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it could be on the main cantonment area or even on one of our highways.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, there are so many other options, right, than getting behind the wheel impaired. So.
Exactly. It is.
Let's
call a cab, call a friend.
Yeah, or use the new designated driver program.
Exactly.
That's free. That is absolutely free and
Correct.
goes so far. Well, great. This has been some really helpful information. Is there anything else from DES that you would like to share?
No, I think the main thing we just want to get across to everyone is, arrive alive.
Yeah.
And just take your time and please be courteous to those that are going in school zones. I mean, slow down. There's nothing that's in that much of a hurry that you need to speed and possibly hurt a child or even a parent that's walking a child.
Sure.
So we just want everyone to slow down, be conscious of what you're doing, and let's be safe.
Yeah. Hey, Captain Barrick, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for being on this week's edition of the Marne Report with me.
Appreciate it.
And that would be it for this week's edition, y'all. This is Molly signing off.
The installation's warning siren, also known as the installation giant voice, is tested on both Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield on the last Thursday of every month. These monthly tests ensure that the sirens are working properly and that the public is aware of the sound of the sirens in the event of an actual emergency. During the test, the sirens will sound for up to 3 minutes. If you hear them, don't be alarmed. This is just another way our community works to ensure our emergency response capabilities are ready when we need them.